The one called Judas went to the chief priest and the elders, and he said to them, "Tell me, what can you offer me if I betray Jesus to you?" They offered him 30 pieces of silver. And from that point on, Judas looked for an opportunity to betray Jesus. That evening, Jesus was eating dinner with his disciples, and he said to them, "Truly, one of you will betray me." The disciples became distressed, and they began asking, "Surely not I, Lord, it can't be me." And Jesus replied, "The one who dips his hand in the bowl with me will betray me." And Judas said, "Surely not I." And Jesus replied, "You have said so." And then Jesus took bread, he broke it, blessed it, and he gave it to the disciples, saying, "Take, eat. This is my body, which is given for you." Then he took the cup, he blessed it, and he gave it to all the disciples, saying, "This is my blood of the new covenant, poured out for you and for many for the forgiveness of sins. For truly I tell you, I will not drink of this again until I drink it anew in my Father's kingdom." Following dinner, the disciples sang a hymn, and then they went to the Mount of Olives. It was there that Jesus said to his disciples, "You will all become betrayers because of me." And Peter was quick to say, "Lord, even if everyone else here deserts you, even if everyone else leaves you, I would never do that." Jesus looked at Peter and he said, "Peter, tonight, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter, almost in an incredulous note, looked at Jesus and said, "I know I must die with you, but I will never deny you." Later that evening, Jesus took Peter, James, and John to Gethsemane to pray. And he said to them, "Please stay here, be with me, and do not fall asleep." Jesus went a little bit further into the garden at that point in time. And he threw himself down on the ground and he began to pray. "Father, if it be your will, please let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours." As he returned, he found his disciples sleeping. And he said to them, "Are you still sleeping? Are you still taking your rest? This hour is at hand when the Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up. We must be on our way." And then he said, "See, my betrayer is at hand." And as he was speaking, Judas arrived with a large crowd, carrying swords and clubs, sent by the high priest and the elders. And then Judas walked up to Jesus. And he greeted him with a kiss on his cheek, letting the crowd know who it was they needed to arrest. And as the crowd began to arrest him, suddenly a disciple drew a sword, striking the slave of the chief priest, cutting off his ear. And Jesus stopped them. And he said, "Put away your sword. For those that take up the sword will perish by the sword." And then Jesus turned to the crowd. He said, "Have you come to arrest me like a common criminal?" And as he was looking around and speaking, he saw that his disciples had abandoned him. Then they led Jesus up to Caiaphas, the high priest, where all the elders and scribes were gathered. They were looking for someone, anyone, to bring false testimony against Jesus in order that they might put him to death. Eventually, a man stepped forward. He said, this guy, he said that he would destroy the temple of God and that he would rebuild it in 3 days. They looked to Jesus for some sort of reply, but he remained silent. So the high priest said to him, "Remember, you are under oath. Tell us, are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" And then Jesus broke his silence. And he said, "You say so. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the Son of Man seateth on the right hand of power, coming on the clouds of glory." At this, the high priest screamed out, "Blasphemy!" And he ripped his clothes. He said, "We need no further testimony. What do you say? What is your verdict?" And everyone there said, "He deserves death." Peter, observing from the courtyard, when a little girl came up to him and said, "You were with Jesus of Galilee." And of course, Peter denied this almost immediately. And as he went a little further on, others came up to him and said, "Hey, you're the guy that was with Jesus of Nazareth." And Peter denied it again, this time saying, "I don't know him. I'm not sure who this guy is. I don't know him." Hearing his voice, others came up and said, "You're one of them. Your accent gave you away." And Peter denied again. He cursed and he swore, saying, "No, no, no." And then Peter remembered the words of Jesus. "Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. And Peter wept bitterly. The next day, Jesus was handed over to Pilate, the governor. Judas heard about this, and he repented. He went to the chief priest and to the elders, and he pleaded with them. He said, "I have sinned against innocent blood. When they gave him no relief, he dropped the coins at their feet, left the temple, and hanged himself. Pilate said to Jesus, "Tell me, are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus replied, "You say so." And then Jesus remained silent to all the accusations made against him by the chief priest and the elders. Now, at that time of year, it was customary for the governor to release a prisoner to the crowd, any one that the crowd wanted. And so Pilate asked the crowd, "Whom shall I release to you?" It just so happened at that time there was a notorious prisoner named Barabbas. And when Pilate asked that question, it was his name that they screamed, "Barabbas." Pilate, I'm sure, taken back just a little bit, asked the crowd, "Then what shall I do with Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" And the crowd shouted, "Why?" Pilate said, "What has he done to deserve this?" And they shouted again, "Crucify him! Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate, realizing what he must do, took water and he washed his hands, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. Do it yourself." And then the crowd yelled, "His blood is on us and our children." So Jesus was flogged. Barabbas was released. And then Jesus was handed over to be crucified. The soldiers, they stripped Jesus and they placed a scarlet robe and a crown of thorns upon him. And as they beat him mercilessly and they spit upon him, they mocked him. They were shouting, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And when they finished, they gave him a large wooden cross and they led him up to be crucified. At Golgotha, they offered him wine mixed with gall, but he refused. Then they crucified him, and they placed a sign above his head that read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." From noon until 3 o'clock that afternoon, darkness covered the ground. And Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Then he cried out once more and let out his final breath. At that moment, the earth shook and the temple curtain was torn in two. So moved by what they had seen. The centurion and the others keeping watch were in awe and were terrified, saying, "This man was truly the Son of God." The next morning, a wealthy man from Arimathea named Joseph asked Pilate for the body of Christ. He took the body and he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. And he placed it in a new tomb and had a great stone rolled in front of the door.
Let us respond by singing together, "What Wondrous Love Is This?" You may stand as you are able. Turn to number 292 in the hymnal.